Okay, so this is like the fifth time I've tried this, and let's see if the fifth time is a charm. We're going to continue our lecture on adjective clauses. Okay, so let's start trying to find some adjective clauses in this sentence, the forthcoming sentences. That is my youngest daughter Isabella when she was learning how to eat. First sentence. Mr. Ayers' youngest daughter, who loves mashed potatoes, often makes a mess of herself. Okay, pause it here, try and find the adjective clause and any other clauses, and then unpause for my explanation. Okay, there are two subject-verb pairs here. There's who loves, and there's daughter makes. Now, for who loves, note that the marking words in an adjective clause are still pronouns. Except for whose, they're all pronouns. So they can still be the subject of the clause. So you might have a marking word that marks the clause and is the subject of the clause. So the adjective clause is who loves mashed potatoes, and the independent clause is Mr. Ayers' youngest daughter often makes a mess of herself. Next sentence. The side dish, which Mr. Ayers' youngest daughter cannot feed to herself, is called mashed potatoes. Pause, work it out, unpause. All right, so two subject-verb pairs here, too. We have, where did it go? Yes. The side dish is called, and daughter cannot feed. Now, technically, not isn't part of the verb phrase because it's an adverb. If we were doing subject-predicate, I wouldn't let you put it in there. But since we're doing clauses, it's going to just go with the can feed verb, so we'll just call it cannot feed. Look for your marking word next. To find your adjective clause, you see which Mr. Ayers' youngest daughter cannot feed to herself. So which is the marking word, Mr. Ayers' youngest daughter, adjectives. Mr. Ayers' youngest, adjectives for daughter, cannot feed. And to herself is a prepositional phrase that modifies cannot feed. Remember, prepositional phrases can act as adjectives and adverbs. And look at chapter 3 if you're having problems with your phrases. Then the side dish is called mashed potatoes, would be the independent clause. Ho! Ho, ho! Here we go. That's a Miller sighting. Oh, my goodness. The teacher you just saw, whose name is Mr. Miller, can be described as an odd-looking fellow at times. Now, is that just opinion or is that fair? Let's see. You make the call on that one. All right, go ahead and try and find the clauses. This is a tricky one. Make sure you find them all. Pause the video and come back for the answers. Okay, there are three subject-verb pairs in this sentence. You saw, that's the tricky one. Teacher can be described, and name is. Okay, so you've got those three subject-verb pairs. The you saw subject-verb pair is an independent clause. You include just in that clause because just is modifying saw. It's an adverb modifying saw. So that's one independent clause. The adjective clause will start with whose, and it is whose name is Mr. Miller. And the other independent clause, the one that's being split by the adverb or the adjective clause, is the teacher can be described as an odd-looking fellow at times. Okay, let's move on to some exceptions to adjective clauses. Exception number 1. We're going to add two more marking words for special occasions. If you're modifying a place or a time, then an adjective clause is going to be marked with where or when. It might be. It usually is. So these are special asterisk marking words, where and when. So here's the spot where we will have lunch. The adjective clause where we will have lunch modifies spot. And spot is a place. It's a where, so that's why we mark it with a where. And this is the season when it rains almost every day. So when it rains almost every day is the adjective clause that modifies season, and that's a when. Season is a when. It's a time. And so that's why we mark that adjective clause with when. There's also one other exception we want to look at. If whom is the marking word used to begin an adjective clause, there will always be a preposition before it. The clause begins at that preposition. Now, which, sometimes which takes a preposition as well, but it's not all the time. Whom, I mean, there might be an exception out there, but I would say 99% of the time, if whom is your marking word, there's probably a preposition right before it, and you have to include that preposition in your adjective clause. If you don't include that preposition, what's going to happen is you're going to put it in the clause that's in the independent clause, and then because you've included that preposition, you're going to have two clauses that are subordinate. For example, I told Johnny to whom he should address the letter. Now, I told Johnny, independent, and to whom he should address the letter, a subordinate adjective clause. If I leave that to with the I told Johnny clause, then you get I told Johnny to, and then you get whom he should address the letter. Those are both subordinate clauses, and they have a problem. That to influences the I told Johnny. So you want to make sure you include those prepositions with whom and sometimes which. Ernest Hemingway asked for whom the bell tolls. Now that isn't part of the sentence. It just so happens that the title of the book, For Whom the Bell Tolls, just happens to be an adjective clause. All right, if you have any answers, any questions for me, make sure you tweet me, and I'll be happy to get back with you. After viewing this video, you're going to go to the next video, which is the 10 sentences exercises. Exercise. I've got a daughter screaming at me right now, so I'm trying to wrap this up, and then we'll review those later. Bye.